So, 2.5 weeks ago, I started school again. I started class 5 after successful completion of class 4. The new class is pretty much made up of the class 4 was split into two, as I mentioned before, and now it's pretty much half of my former class, and the other half is from the other class 4A that I was in 4B. So that means that two of the Chinese guys I didn't like from class 3 are back. The guy who is like, it seems to be tired all the time, and the guy who with a really weird voice is back. However, they're not, so far I haven't been that annoyed at them. The guy that I was the most annoyed at was actually the guy who kept looking at his phone the whole time with one earplug in his head he didn't seem interested in anything. He's gone at least, so that's good. Anyway, some of the differences now between the last class and the former class. We have, like usual, we start the day with pronunciation and kanji. The new thing with pronunciation is that so in class 3 we just did sounds. We did like aki eki, uki, mama mumu, and that kind of thing, just kind of saying them and then having like shoujo, and to know the difference between shou and jo, that kind of thing. It was simple, I guess. I think that was in 1, 2, 3. Then when we got to 4, we were reading sentences, short sentences, and then writing down these horrible accents, which I call accusento, which I think is fitting because it's really annoying. You have to kore wa boru pen desu, like that kind of thing. It's like sometimes it doesn't make sense. This term we're doing the same thing with sentences. However, it's from a poem or something, some kind of poetry anyway, from a Japanese guy named Kenji something. And the problem with that is that whenever you listen to him actually speaking it or someone speaking it in like a poetic style, it's very it sounds like dramatic sort of. It sounds different from when you're trying to say it naturally, even though it never sounds natural when you're using this accent thing. But it's like ame ni mo makizu, kaze ni mo makizu. It's like, yeah, kaze ni mo makizu, kaze ni mo makizu. I know it's a little tricky, but yeah, but the problem is with this really is that the last, when we had the test on it, last term we just, you say these 3 sentences and then you look at the paper and you say the 3 sentences. This time I think they actually want us to memorize this poem, which has 28 lines. I don't know if they want us to memorize everything and just say the thing from beginning to end, or just say these lines or something, but I'm not going to be able to memorize that. I could memorize maybe that. I can probably memorize that. I'm feeling close to it already, like the scene from Yakuza 2 where Kiryu meets Goda. I could memorize that, but I can't memorize a poem because I'm not interested in poems whatsoever. So that's going to be hard. That means probably that I'm probably not going to get an S this time in pronunciation, just because I'm not going to be able to memorize all that. Kanji is the same as usual. We're going through the rest of the N3 kanji book. However, we're doing 4 kanjis per day and sometimes 6. So that's harder, but at least most of the kanji I know something about. There's just more readings now, so it's like kanji is gonna go well this term as well. And then we have just regular studying, and regular studying is made by with this book instead. And it's funny how it's Nihongo is in hiragana here, even though this has N2 grammar, JLPT N2 level grammar. But so that means we're getting to be sort of advanced students, but still we can't handle the kanji for Nihongo. Come on, we've known that for a long time. This book is from the book in class 4. It's different that this has no English in it whatsoever. It doesn't have any Korean either, which I didn't care about, of course. It has a lot more. It has a lot more chapters. Instead of 6 big chapters, it's 20 smaller chapters. They have every chapter has about 4 kanji points, so there's a lot of grammar points. However, the good part is that they're very similar. A lot of them are similar to each other. They're variants of each other, and most of them are variants on things we've already done before. The downside with the grammars is that while they are these sort of simple. I guess that problem was in the last term too. They're sort of simple to grasp on the surface, but the usage and why, like when, why, how, it's very. There's fine differences, and the ones that are similar to each other, like te naranai and te tamaranai. It's like It's like koishikute naranai. It's like I miss it so much I can't stand it, sort of. But then koishikute tamaranai, it's like the same thing. But there is some kind of fine difference that's kind of hard to grasp, especially when they can only explain it to us in Japanese, obviously. The interesting thing about this term that's new is the jiyu sentaku. I have no idea how to fucking say that in English. Been annoyed about that for weeks now, but it's a voluntary class, sort of. Instead of having just listening class, reading class, and conversation class we have separate, but we have three days of the 5. We have this thing that you choose. Whatever the hell did you say that? Electable course? I don't know how to say it. God damn it. And it's in the listening category, the reading category, and then kind of an extra category. And all of them had choices for aiming for JLPT N1, N2, the Japanese Ryugaku Shiken something. I guess it's like if you want to apply it to universities or something. And then kind of a fourth extra option. And with reading, I took N2 because the other options was the Ryugaku thing is always there. N1 is obviously too advanced for me. I'm doing N3 this year, but the fourth one was speed reading, and that's kind of like, it's like, what is that even? But so I took N2, but it is definitely too hard because you we're trying to read like this long text in like 5 minutes, and then reading and understanding is always one thing, but answering the fucking question is quite another. Fuck it. So the reading is pretty damn difficult. I don't really expect to pass it, but at least it'll be good practice for N2, getting a little bit of head start sort of on that stuff. The listening Jiyu Sentaku is there was the choices between N1 and N2, and Ryugaku Shiken as usual. The fourth option was listening to a sort of real Japanese conversation. The direction was more towards everyday Japanese conversation instead of specifically N2 grammar type stuff for that test. And I took the everyday conversation thing because I wanted to rather learn more about real Japanese conversation than just JLPT N2, which I thought was going to be too hard, and I'm not doing that this year anyway, so seemed like the better choice, actually. Even though when it's real conversation sort of, and the clips you listen to, they're very like, like they speak really fast, and it's hard to make out their words sometimes, a lot of times. And then in the class, when I brought that up, and then a girl in the class was like, well, women are better at listening than men, and the teacher was like, yeah, that's right. I was like, all right. I wouldn't say it offended me exactly, because I mean, okay, that might be true, but it did remind me a little bit of when I was I was 13. And we had the sewing class in school, and I commented that the plastic bit on a sewing machine was navy blue instead of black, or black instead of navy blue. I forget which. And then the teacher, who was like a 60-year-old woman, she said like, "Well, girls are better at distinguishing colors than boys are." And I was like, then I was offended because like. She's like, what? So I'm stupid because I'm a guy or what? And then, all throughout your life you hear that, girls develop faster than boys. I mean, intellectually, well, physically and intellectually, actually. And then, like my sister was always better at saving money. So it's like, now we're getting into a different topic here about feminism and stuff, but the feminists say that all the women are always put down and everything. But in my view, it's been like women are always elevated in the way that I've always, in my life anyway, I've always heard that women are better than men, pretty much. Except for, they're not as strong, but physically, but they have better temperament. They don't kill people and get angry about everything and punch, and they don't rape people. They don't. They're better with money. They're better at thinking rationally. They can distinguish colors, and apparently they can also listen better than men. Like make out words instead of just. For me, it turns into a bit of like a slur. That's not the right word. Sludge of sounds instead of audible. But that's what watching Japanese movies and stuff is for. That's why I got a card at Tsutaya very recently, like 2 days ago. And then the third category, it had, instead of 4 choices, it only had 3. It had N2, N2 grammar and vocabulary, Ryugaku, Shiken, whatever that was, and 3 watching Japanese TV drama. And that's an enticing one, because it's like, ooh, watching Japanese TV shows and learning from that. It's like, ooh. But I actually picked N2 grammar vocabulary instead. Pretty much because just to learn more, and then some of the stuff that's in the regular textbook for the term is also showing up there, and, getting a head start and all that. And the drama thing is like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm gonna do that and I'm doing that on my free time anyway, by, as I said, renting movies, shows and stuff, and playing games. So I'm gonna get that anyway. So I figured I'd take the more responsible option and go with N2 grammar stuff. And it's not easy because there's just so much of it. Like we got a lot of papers. Like we get this big vocabulary stuff. There's just words. Some of them I know already. Some of them I don't. A lot of new kanjis. We get this with grammar and N2 grammar. This is probably not all of it either. I'm gonna be able to build a house out of these papers before we're through, I think. But it's a good learning opportunity. Sort of, yeah. I just not really confident that the whole GU Sentaku grade will be that high. Yeah, but in general, otherwise I'm confident that I will pass this class in general. So that's good. And in other news also, we got the main teacher we got for this term is Nishioka, and she was the main teacher for the third term, and she's nice, she's good, I like her. So that was good news. And the other 2 teachers, because there's always 3, were, what were the names? There was Sawada from Hokkaido and Hirano from somewhere. I forgot what she said she was from. But the funny thing about her was that she's not good at writing kanji, apparently. So she was writing kanji on the board, and then she was like, oh, by the way, if you can't read I'm not good at writing kanji, so if anyone can't read my kanji, just ask about it. And it's like, a Japanese teacher who's not good at writing kanji. Feels like, because my view of teachers, oh, they're super people, they know everything. But no, they're not great at everything, they're humans, like all of us. So yeah, so far so good. Even it's the grammar is harder and easier at the same time, and but there's a lot of it, and because we have so many chapters, I think we're definitely this term doing more achievement tests than we did before. Every Friday we've done it. Well, we've had 2 Fridays so far. We had 2 achievement tests. The first one I got 89 on. This one that we just had, I think, is going to be slightly less. It's going to be either low 80s or high 70s, I guess. But, well, whatever, I guess.